Absolutely 100% every day I deal with the same emotion that you deal with. Fear dictates what we do. Fear plays into what we do. We absolutely make decisions based on fear.
Originating from deep inside the Rocky Mountains, transported through the power of the internet, and arriving inside your tiny earbuds. It's the Appraiser Coach Podcast, helping appraisers increase their efficiency, quality, and make more money. Here's the guy who makes it his life's mission to create value for real estate appraisers nationwide. Your host and the Appraiser Coach, Dustin Harris.
And welcome back, everyone, each and every one of you, to, well, the most listened to appraisal-related podcast in the world. Folks, we've got over 500 episodes and we're nearing 1 million downloads. Don't worry, I'll let you know when it happens. 1 million downloads. This, of course, is the Appraiser Coach Podcast. I am your host, Dustin Harris. Welcome. Today's episode, we're going to be talking about, becoming frigid. No, not that kind of frigid. We're talking about frigidness in your growth, frigidness in your volume, frigidness in your success, and moving forward. Can you feel it? Can you feel what the pandemic has done to each of us? I want to talk about things that we can think, and ways we can think, on moving forward, even amidst a national, yes, even worldwide pandemic. I want to pause here first and remind you of some great companies which sponsor us here. OREP being one of them. OREP is it's the that I've been using for several years now. Every single year, folks, it seems like we grow and yet our prices drop. It's crazy. Well, that's what OREP is all about. It's shopping around, getting you the best possible deal and with the best possible coverage. Check them out by going to orep.org. That's OREP.org. Alamode, of course, is the software that I use to complete my appraisal work, both in the field and back at the desk. It's alamode.com or 800-ALAMODE. And of course, we are sponsored by a great company called DataMaster. DataMaster saving appraisers 30 to 40 minutes per report. Well, 30 to 60 minutes per report, about 40 minutes for me. It's datamasterusa.com, datamasterusa.com. All right, folks, today we're talking about your business. We're talking specifically about what this podcast is all about. You tune in to find out how to better improve your business, as the intro says, how to make more money. And it is my goal as a business coach to help you to do that very thing. Let me tell you something that I have seen transpire over the last couple of months. Now, let's set the stage. Many of us had a wonderful, wonderful 2019. Many of us had a record-breaking 2019. Many of us had never seen the kind of growth that happened until 2019. I've been in business, 24 years now. So 2019 was my 23rd year. And by far, it wasn't even close. 2019 was a record-breaking year for us. Folks, if I told you the volume that we're doing, if I told you the gross, you would not believe me. That is not a tease. I'm just being honest. I've told a few people and their jaw drops. We've had an amazing, amazing year in 2019. Now, take that and add to that in 2020, at the end of July, so the first part of August 2020, we had already surpassed our total gross revenue for all 12 months. So in the first 7 months of 2020, we had surpassed all 12 months of 2019, which I might remind you, was a record-breaking year. It has been amazing. Now, I don't do it by myself. I have a huge payroll, and that is a trade-off. You can't just look at gross. You can't just look at gross and think that you know the whole story. I've got a huge, did I mention I have a huge payroll? I've got, 13, 14 people now that work for me? It is a big firm. It is a big organization. Yes, we work in a rural area. We have a lot of people, a great team who have a very similar agenda, who have a very similar vision, and here we are moving forward together as a team. It's wonderful. It's great. I enjoy it. There's parts I don't enjoy about it. Had to let somebody go here a couple weeks ago, hire 2 new people here in the last couple of weeks, and the training process is never fun. Working with a trainee whom I love. I really get along well with him. We enjoy being out together, but it is frustrating. Things slow down. In fact, my daughter every single week says now, is Tyler coming with you this week? Because it's a matter of, can I schedule 8, 9 appointments in a day, or can I schedule 5 or 6 appointments appointments in a day. It just is what it is, right? And that's not a lashing on Tyler. He's a trainee. He's learning. He's growing. He's learning how to sketch. He's learning how to fill in the information. We're now working on comps and adjustments and, all that goes into the training process. It just is a process. It's a process that we all have to go through. The bottom line here is that when you look at gross revenue, that doesn't tell the whole story. Even when you look at net revenue, that doesn't tell the whole story. Well, how many hours are you working? What is your dollar per hour? What does your P&L look like? What does your budget look like? What does your balance sheet look like, right? These are all important ideas, important things that an appraiser business owner needs to know. But the bottom line is we've had a crazy year. And if you had asked me in the end of March 2020 what would happen, in fact, I was pretty vocal about it. I said, hold on to your horses. This pandemic is big. This is going to drastically affect the housing market. I indicated that the housing market was most likely, and again, I'm no expert, but most likely the housing market is overinflated. And I think it is just waiting. It is just hoping. And when I say it, I mean the market is just hoping for something to happen for it to be able to adjust, for it to be able to correct itself, or if you want to call it bubble bursting, whatever. I predicted that would happen within the first couple of months of the pandemic. Well, yeah, that shows you how great my predictions are and why I'm not on MSNBC making financial predictions because, well, they are what they are. But the bottom line is, folks, this is it's a pattern that I am noticing as I do my masterminds, as I work with my All-Star team, and as I have done my personal coaching with many appraisers across the nation. Many of them know what they need to do to grow. Most of them, I would say, with the help of a coach and me holding their hand just a little bit, they basically know how to accomplish it. Now, there might be some things that I put in place for them. There might be some visions and might be able to expand their vision beyond what they are used to. But the bottom line is most of them basically know what they need to do. With a little help from me, they have a pretty clear vision of what their appraisal world looks like. Now, many of them, let's just be honest, base that off of what I have in my business. They want to be more business owner, again, tier 5, and less tier 4 and tier 3, which of course is boots on the ground appraiser and office manager. They want to, if you will, delegate that to others and be able to be the big bad boss, if you will, that oversees everything and oversees their kingdom and their enterprise as they continue to grow. And that's great. That's fine. But here's what I find happening. Because of the pandemic, and it's the only thing I can point to blame this on, because of the pandemic, many of them are getting cold feet. Many of them are at the altar ready to make the vows, and they are running the opposite direction. They have their tennis shoes on, and they're running down the aisle and out the door of the church and down the beach and across the town and hiding in a corner in a fetal position with their thumb stuck in their mouth. Because there's so much unknown out there. Now, I'm being a bit facetious, but typically it plays out like this. I'm in a coaching session and we talk about this and I say, well, John, you know what you need to do, right? I mean, let's look at this. What is your next big step? And the answer will come, well, coach, I mean, I know I need to do this, but I mean, that's a huge thing. That's costly. That puts me on the spot. I know I need to do that, but there's so much unknown right now that I don't possibly know whether or not that I should proceed in that direction. Folks, all right, I get it. I do. I understand. I have those same feelings, folks. I'm not just a coach. I'm an active appraiser, and more importantly, I'm an active appraisal business owner. I get it. I get the cold feet. I get the fear. I get the unknowns. I get the fact that we live in such a, I can't tell you how often this phrase comes out of my mouth. Well, we sure live in a weird world right now, right? I mean, it just is strange. You walk down the street. The other day, I turned the corner. There is a couple of teachers, one on the front, one on the back of a long string of kids, and every one of them have masks on. They're walking down the street, and it's just bizarre. And by the way, that's not an indictment of masks. That's not a political statement at all. I'm just saying that's the new normal. It is crazy. We live in a weird, I mean, a year ago, you would never, ever fathom that you would turn the corner and see 15 kids with 2 adults with masks on walking down the street holding hands. I mean, it just is absolutely bizarre, the world that we live in. And there's so much unknown. There's so much unpredictable. There's so much that can and may happen. There's so much, I'll even go so far as to say, probably will happen. And yet my encouragement today is going to be, so what? So what? Move forward anyway. And I'm going to show you why that's important when we come back from the break. I want to pause here and remind you that we're sponsored by 3 great companies. One of them I mentioned is OREP. OREP, folks, is my E&O. I love and I'm proud to say it. OREP has my back. OREP is my E&O. It's been my E&O for several years. I've used their services because I've needed to over the last couple of years, and I can tell you they have your back when you need it. They are the least expensive and best product out there on the market. Don't believe me? Check them out. It will only take you a few minutes to fill out their application. So next time your E&O is up for renewal, check them out. Go to orep.org. That's OREP.org. Alamode is a software that I've been with for I told you I've been in business for 24 years. I've been with Alamode for all of that time. Before I was an official appraiser, so over 24 years ago, I used Alamode software when I worked with my dad. My dad's been using it from the very, very beginning. Yes, I've used the other software out there. Yes, it's good. Folks, Alamode is the best, and there's a reason that they lead the nation in the greatest and best software out there for appraisers. Check them out. Go to alamode.com or 800-ALAMODE. Finally, if you want to save time, if you want to save energy, if you want to use technology to help you to be more successful, I encourage you, implore you, beg you, try DataMaster. The old DataMaster was awesome. The new DataMaster is phenomenal. Check them out. Go to datamasterusa.com. Again, it's datamasterusa.com. Welcome back, one. Welcome back, all. Dustin Harris hanging out with you in the podcast chair. We're talking today, about the future. And I'm not going to make any predictions about the future, at least on this episode. You can turn to another episode for that. But I am talking to you about being a business owner. I'm talking to you about this fear that sometimes controls us. And sometimes, by the way, we don't call it what it is. It is fear. It is F-E-A-R. And we don't want to admit that fear controls us. But folks, and I'm going to raise both hands. Absolutely 100%. Every day I deal with the same emotion that you deal with. Fear dictates what we do. Fear plays into what we do. We absolutely make decisions based on fear. It's evolutionary. It happens. It's all of us. It's human nature, right? It's survival of the fittest. It's the idea that if we want to continue and we want our seed to continue after us, that we need to protect ourselves. And sometimes fear can be our best friend. But this fear and this emotion sometimes controls us to the point, that we don't proceed and we don't produce and we don't succeed as much as we would like to because of so many unknowns. Folks, I have heard it over and over and over again in my personal coaching when I'm dealing with my dream team and all-star team. I hear some semblance of, Dustin, I know what I should do, but there's so much that's unpredictable right now. I don't know that I should get that server. I don't know that I should hire that assistant. I don't know that I should bring on a trainee right now. Whatever the deal is, whatever the decision is that you are dealing with, I can tell you, folks, that fear is going to play into it. So what do we do? What do we do when we have this thing called fear, but we don't want that fear? None of us want to admit it, right? None of us want to admit that we are controlled by fear, yet every one of us to some extent are. And here's the thing. When it comes to fear, you have to make not a lizard brain approach decision, but a logical decision. In other words, we need to recognize, first of all, what it is that we're dealing with. If we are ready to make a decision to move forward and all signs, and I shouldn't say all signs, because that's part of the fear, 80% says move in this direction. The other 20% is based on emotion, is based on what if, is based on, hey, we're in a pandemic year. Who knows what could happen? I don't want to hire Aunt Mabel, and then 3 months from now when the quote-unquote market drops, I have to fire Aunt Mabel. Heaven forbid. Right? First of all, I would say don't hire Aunt Mabel. Hire Mabel that's not your aunt. It might be a little bit easier, but nonetheless, nobody wants to hire somebody and then a few months later fire them. Nobody wants to get $5,000 into a new server and then have to turn around and realize that you couldn't really afford it. Nobody wants to fill in the blank. There's so many decisions that can easily be made right now when the market's high, and then we say to ourselves, but what if? What if that market doesn't continue? What if that market struggles? What if that market goes, heaven forbid, down? Then what? Folks, as a coach, as your mentor, as a voice of reason, if you will, can I encourage you to make decisions anyway? Can I encourage you to recognize and acknowledge the fear? Recognize it for what it is. It is fear. Acknowledge it for what it is. It is a burden. It is a hurdle. It is a stepping stone, if you will, to a higher place. You have to go through the fear. Ignoring the fear is never smart. Taking fear into, and when I say fear, I'm talking about the justification for the fear. So the emotion is fear, and you all know this. Our lizard brain is fearful, and then our logical brain justifies that fear, right? We feel this fear, so we're walking through the grass, and we hear something slither past us, right? Immediately, we're going to feel fear, and then right after that, we're going to start to justify, well, it could be a snake. I definitely heard it. It wasn't the wind. That snake could bite me. That snake could kill me. These are the things that your brain does. And that's just life. That's just biology. That just is the way that the human brain works. But the same is true with our business. I need to hire an assistant. But, holy smokes, what if this refi boom doesn't last? But, holy smokes, what if the interest rates rise? What if the volume drops and there's no more new houses out there? What if people refi to the point that it's not worth them refiing anymore? They're refied out, if the case may be. Well, folks, okay, let's step back. Let's acknowledge what it is. It's fear. It's rational. Let's just be honest. All of those things that I just brought up are perfectly rational, and every single one of those things could and may happen. Okay, folks, I have no other way to say it than to just say it. So what? So what? Let's deal with life right now. Folks, if you had asked me in March whether it was a good idea to hire someone, I probably would have said no. When the pandemic hit, I had predictions that things would fall apart. I was wrong. Last year in 2019, I had predictions that 2019 would be our best year ever, but hold on, because it has to drop in 2020. I was wrong. Okay? I'm telling you, I have the same fears, the same dissuasions, the same emotions that every one of you feel. Here's what I have found. If 80% of you says do it, do it. Don't let that 20% dictate what you should or shouldn't do. Are you going to make mistakes? Absolutely. Are you going to hire people that you're going to have to fire down the road? Absolutely. Is that going to be no fault of your own? Sometimes. And that's okay. The bottom line is everyone who accepts a position with your company knows that it's possibly temporary. Everyone knows. And I don't care if they left another job to join you. I don't care if they joined you because they were absolutely convinced that this would be a permanent long-term position. Okay? People quit, people get fired. Markets go up, markets go down. If you're waiting and holding out for that next big technology that's going to change the way that you do business, stop it. Stop it. It's time to make the step. It's time to move forward, and it's time to let those fears get kicked to the curb. Remember, those fears represent, yes, strongly, but they represent 20% of your feelings. 80% says do it. 80% moves forward. Now, I'm not going to take the time today, but I would highly recommend that you review, if you've already read it, review it. If you've not read it, please do. Malcolm Gladwell's Blink. It's a great book on the science behind what I'm talking about today. Your gut is a great indication of what you should do. Trust it. Now, most of us, and it's just, again, it's human nature, we hold out because our gut says one thing, but our fear says, well, but maybe my gut is wrong. And guess what, folks? Maybe your gut is wrong. Maybe it is. I have found that my greatest success, and this is really what separates the 98% of the world from the 2%. It's not that 98% of the world doesn't know what to do. It's that 2% of the world actually moves forward with their ideas. Speaking of great ideas and speaking of ways that I can help you and to improve what you're doing, I highly recommend that you join us here at the All-Star Team. Right now, it is 100% free for the first 30 days. All you have to do is use free All-Star, 330 All-Star. It's FREE 30 ALLSTAR, free 30 All-Star, no lowercase, it's all caps, the number 30. There are no spaces, no hyphens, no anything like that. Free 30 All-Star, and you can join us and continue to improve your business. And boy, here's the great thing. I was on a call this morning with my All-Star team, and one of the gals, bless her heart, said, it is so fun and so exciting to be surrounded by like-minded people. Folks, that's what the All-Star Team is all about. Thank you for being a part of this experience. I hope your business continues to thrive, and I appreciate being a small part of your incredible success.
You've been listening to the Appraiser Coach podcast with Dustin Harris. If you like what you hear, please give us a 5-star rating and post a short review on iTunes. For more in-depth insider information on how you can make more money as a real estate appraiser, visit theappraisercoach.com and sign up for the All-Star Team today. Thanks for joining us. And now, get out there and create some value.